So welcome back. This is Leigh Childs, the martial arts success guy, and today's training tip is really something a little bit different. I wanted to cover something today, a topic for all those folks out there that may be struggling in their martial arts business. Business may not have gone well. Business may not be going well. You may just be having some element of doubt in there. And remember, I have, just like fighters have respect for other fighters that have the courage to step into that ring and fight, I have just as much respect, having even been a fighter, for those people that have the courage to step up and try and run their own martial arts business. To set up any business, in fact, on their own takes a lot of courage. So I applaud you for that. There's going to be good and bad times. All businesses go in cycles, and we need to recognize that. But most importantly, today's subject is about what happens when things go really bad. And I want you to watch this video to the end, because I'm going to tell you a very interesting and true story about a young man I knew. And this young man grew up very poor, was adopted by his grandparents, and had this dream, this ambition to be something different in his life. And luckily for him, he found this thing called martial arts. It was a small taekwondo school, and he began training, began to realize he was actually physically quite good. He began to win local tournaments, national tournaments, made the British team when he was like 18, decided, this is what he really wanted to do as a full-time career. Now, a number of things happened, but along the way, he saved up a little bit of money, or what he had, and a big universal gym was coming available. Now, he didn't have enough capital to own the gym at the time, so he did the only thing that he knew how to do, was go to his dad and go to the bank. Well, he went to the bank, but the bank would only lend him half the amount of money that he needed to get and purchase this gym, his first martial arts studio. Well, actually, it was a very large gym as well. And so his father, who was in his 60s at the time, who had saved his whole life and had little of his own life savings left, and the amount of money I needed was basically everything that this young man's father had. And without bat an eyelid, when the son came to his father and asked him to lend him the money, his life savings, his father looked him in the eye and said, son, I believe in you. I believe you can do it. So without any hesitation, he wrote him a check for the amount that he needed to purchase his very first martial arts school. And so it began. He went to work. He worked extremely hard. A lot of times, 7 days a week. In fact, I remember there was a time when a new sauna was fitted, and he spent a lot of days and nights just at the gym, slept in the sauna. It's quite cold in England. And there was no point in going home. He was at the gym at 7 a.m. in the morning, doing private lessons, teaching physical training, right through to teaching martial arts in the evening, 10, 11 o'clock at night. He was beat. There was no point in going home to come back at 7 again in the morning to do it all again. And so his life began. Now, he had all the physical attributes of a great martial artist, but unfortunately, he didn't have the business acumen. So within 18 months later, unfortunately, everything was gone. It got worse than that. Not only had everything been spent and done and gone and depleted every resource he had, he became to the realization that he'd accrued some debts. In fact, it just wasn't a few debts. It was to the tune of about $300,000. So there he was. And he continued to work, thinking that, another day would work out, something else would improve, there would be some sort of change, there would be some sort of miracle. And then the day suddenly dawned when he realized, he had to go back to his dad. He had to tell him, Dad, things didn't work out. Things didn't quite go to plan. I know I promised to get the money back to you within, 2 years. Unfortunately, I've lost everything. I've lost every penny. Not only have I lost everything, I'm actually several $100,000 in debt. And I'll never forget the day when the guy had to go visit his dad and tell him that news. That on that very day, everything everything his father had worked for 50 years plus of his life had been lost. When he sat down in front of his father and looked him in the eye and he said, Dad, I got this problem. He said, what is it, son? He said, well, I just don't know what to do. The business didn't work as well as I thought it would. And I've lost everything. And more. And you know, in that moment of despair, his father looked him in the eye and said, "You know, son, let me tell you something. If I didn't have the money to lose, I'd have never given it to you in the first place. And the only thing I know is it doesn't matter about the money." And the young man said, "Why, Dad?" He said, "Because I know you're the sort of son that'll put it right. You'll do everything in your power to put it right." And he said, "Son, he said, I believe in you." Now, I will never forget that day that my dad said those words to me. And he was right. 24 months later, that same son, who obviously was me, made over $1 million in the same business and turned everything around. Now, the moral of the story is, sometimes in life, in great success and great failure, all it takes is just one person to say those right words to you at that right time that makes a massive difference, a massive shift. And I can tell you, when I had to make that drive to see my father and give him that news, there was nothing, there was no lower point in my life with someone that truly loved me and cared for me. I had to go face the facts. I just didn't have it. I'd lost everything. And it wasn't through lack of trying. It was through lack of knowledge, lack of experience. Most importantly, I just didn't know what to do to put it right. I tried everything I knew to make it right. Now, the gap between massive failure and super success, for me, is a small gap. There's just some things that you don't know about your business that you should know in order for it to succeed. There's set systems, there's set procedures that have to be in place for it to work effectively and profitably. So I'm here to tell you those mighty words that shaped, made me more of a man and made my business more of a success. And they're these words. You ready? I believe in you. Now you can be watching this right now. Say, come on, Master Childs. I may have never even met you before. How can you possibly believe in me? Well, I'm going to tell you how. Because I already created a system and a pathway and have the knowledge and the expertise and the guidance and the experience so that you don't have to go through what I went through. So that's why I can happily sit here today, look you straight in the eye and tell you this, that I believe in you. So maybe now all you're left to do is you to have a little bit of faith in me. So you know what to do. There's ways and means to contact me. There's things that are going to go good and go bad in your life. But never forget this. I believe in you. I do now, and I will do more so in the future. So that's it from me, Leigh Childs, the martial arts success guy, telling you a very quick story about how sometimes things weren't always wine and roses, and looking forward to helping you, working with you, and giving you truly the success that you really deserve. Good luck. I'll see you on the very next video. Take care.